Hi everyone and welcome back to our channel. My name is again Tony. Today our topic will be Switzerland as a place to set up a crypto business. It's an expert video. In general, I just wanted to tell you that we're going to have a row of videos about different jurisdictions, telling you more about specific practical aspects of how to set up a business. So everything that is necessary to know when you're setting up a business in a specific jurisdiction. Remember from the last video, Bai from Israel told us that you should not set up a business in a joke jurisdiction. So we're going to follow this instruction.
And if it's a joke, then it's a waste of time. It's a waste of time and a waste of money.
About Switzerland, we're going to talk with two of my friends, Swiss lawyers. One is Deborah Lechtman. She's from Geneva, and she's a partner at the law firm called OA Legal. And another is Loic Staub, and he is working at JB's, and he's working in Zug. I will be happy to share their expertise with you. So let's check out our discussion. Deborah and Loic, what do you think? Is Switzerland a good place to start, let's say, a crypto or payments businesses? And if it's so, then why?
Yeah, sure. And it's a pleasure to talk about a crypto regulation today. Switzerland is definitely one of the best places now to start a crypto business. So I would like to take an analogy to answer your question. Let's think about a plant, For a plant to grow, you need not only a soil, but also a level of humidity. You need also some acidity, pH, some nutriments, sun exposition, and so on. The regulator, the government, or whatsoever you call it, may say that it's forbidden to grow plants here. This is fine, or that only green plants are allowed. But I will say it's the same thing with crypto and fintech business. The regulator may decide that crypto business here is allowed or not. This is fine. But what makes a great jurisdiction to choose to establish a crypto company is to find the best ecosystem. And this is exactly what we have in Switzerland. So exactly like a plant is not, of course, is not talking about soil today, but for example, you need to find a country where there is low taxation. This is very important also, maybe less for a startup, but still when you expect to make profit, you don't want to be taxed like in Scandinavian country, I assume. But it's not only this, you need also to have specialized manpower. You have also to have supportive authority that are really crypto friendly, a clear regulatory framework. For example, we also have a lot of crypto education at University of Zurich, Geneva, also ATA. So in Switzerland, I would say everyone in the financial industry speak English to some extent, and of course Switzerland offers also French, German, and Italian, which is also a big plus. Finally, I would like to remind that we have seen giants moving to Switzerland, as you mentioned, Tony, before, but not only Ethereum, we also have like Cardano, Solana, Aave, Protocol, Tezos, Bitcoin, Swiss. Whether maybe it's another question you have, whether Mika is the threat to Switzerland, this is a big question. My answer is definitely not to some extent, because as I said before, it's the ecosystem that you need to looking for. If you only say the regulator now, you can now plant some plants here. Fine, fair enough. But doesn't make sense. It doesn't mean that you have good taxation, that you have the specialized workforce and all the other elements. So it's like trying to plant a cactus in a Scandinavian forest. I'm not sure it's gonna work.
I agree with everything that was said on the ecosystem, and I join your point of view. And I think an important element is that financial laws and regulations in Switzerland are interpreted in a technology neutral way. So this means that the same rules apply to the same set of facts, no matter the technology that's being used. And why is this important? It brings a lot of stability and predictability. Also, we were lucky to have a very proactive regulator. So FINMA in Switzerland is a Swiss financial market supervisory authority. And another element that is worth mentioning is that FINMA also agrees to give written positions, what we call a no action letter. So you can actually write a letter to FINMA, present the facts of your project, present the legal analysis that you will do of this project, but then FINMA agrees to answer in writing. But what is interesting is that if you get a letter that is positive, once a set of facts has a certain legal analysis that was confirmed by FINMA, they're not going to go back on what was mentioned, right? So this letter has a lot of value for a company. Imagine, for example, that one day you want to sell your company because you're successful and it's time maybe to do such a transaction. When your purchasers will ask you, well, what's your regulatory status? Is your activity compliant with Swiss regulations? You'll actually have a FINMA non-action letter that states that your activity, as long obviously that the facts have not changed, but assuming the facts have not changed, you have a letter from FINMA that confirms the legal analysis that you had made for your project. Maybe another element that is worth mentioning is that you can actually open a bank account with a Swiss bank. Not all banks obviously agree to do this, but some banks do.
Can you name the banks that are able to open bank accounts in Switzerland?
So I will start, of course, for big companies. You can ask to open a bank account with Signum Bank, one of the fully crypto bank in Switzerland, also Seba Bank. They have also Dukas Copy Bank, Merki Baumann Private Bank in Zurich, HBL, also Bankfreaks. This is what comes also now Neuchâtel Cantonal Bank. Also, I want to add one thing here that might be very relevant for our listener, is that you can also incorporate a company in Switzerland without opening a bank account.
Okay, is it possible to open a business in Switzerland without physical presence?
You're going to have, if you want to incorporate a company in Switzerland, you're going to have to show some substance in Switzerland, both from a tax perspective and from a regulatory perspective. So I think that when you're structuring your business, you can also decide, what activities will be done by the Swiss entity in Switzerland and what activities maybe will be done by a separate entity abroad. You can outsource even accounting to a certain extent, as long as it's done according to Swiss standard rules. For example, client identification, you can use tools that are located abroad. For example, Sumsub. I give you a pragmatic example, but if you're onboarding clients, right, you're doing the AML verifications, for example, the company decides to use Sumsub to do these verifications, the decision to onboard or not this client has to be taken in Switzerland. That's one example.
Another question is that we have witnessed the FTX case, which actually kind of revealed the way how some of the crypto businesses are organized inside. So what are the requirements on this side, on the operational side?
In Switzerland, we don't have regulation that will target especially the operational size of crypto business. What we do have is what you need to some extent to be regulated to offer crypto businesses in Switzerland. For example, if you want to offer crypto exchange or on-off-ramp, crypto on off-ramp, crypto remittance, asset management with crypto, these kind of services, you will need an affiliation with a self-regulatory organization. We call it an SRO membership. And in this regard, you will be fully regulated as it concerns your AML and CTF and sanction. However, that said, that does not basically require any corporate framework in the company in terms of how many people needs to be in Switzerland, what is the measure about safekeeping of private key or these kind of things. So we cannot prevent this company to be chaotic, to be honest. There is a certain requirements in the code of obligation in Switzerland that then the board members and so on have responsibilities to have a proper organization and so on. Also, if the company in Switzerland need a FINMA license, for example, a fintech license, and it's fully FINMA regulated. So FINMA is our regulator, like the FCA in UK. In this case, we do have a strong corporate governance. You need also to put in place a lot of hierarchy with the board of directors, the executive director. They must be in Switzerland. There is also, you need to create a business continuity management plan, risk assessment, internal control system, a lot of also data protection policies and framework. This is what comes to mind. Also, with regard to crypto custody, you need to some extent, if you want to offer omnibus account with crypto, the asset must be stored in Switzerland.
One of the very important questions, of course, is Switzerland is a very expensive country. Can you compare, let's say, the costs of doing business in Switzerland as opposed to, let's say, other centers of payments and crypto?
Well, I think in Switzerland, I think costs will vary tremendously depending on your regulatory status. If you're filing for an SRO affiliation, you are not going to have the same costs as if you're filing for a fintech license, which allows you to do non-remunerated custody. So already in Switzerland, you have a strong diversity in costs. And then obviously it depends, there's the legal sides of things, but then there's also, the costs for example, accounting and taxes.
I'm doing now 8 fintech license with FINMA for preparation of the application. And to some extent, actually all these companies have outsourced a lot of their services, for example, IT or cybersecurity abroad, like in Bulgaria or in Montenegro as well.
Turning to non-face-to-face identification, this is my favorite aspect, of course. I'm not a real big fan of video interviews. I think this is an outdated way how to onboard users, but still, a good thing is that Switzerland, as opposed to Germany and Austria, has like a hybrid approach, right? So you have video interview, but at the same time, you can have what is called online identification. Can you elaborate on that and how it works?
So basically, there are 2 types of process. There is this in-person verification process, so face-to-face, or by correspondence, as we call it. That means that clients have to send you some physical document through mail. This is basically the process you will find in all banks, I'll say not fintech companies, surely. And then you have the online onboarding. When you take a selfie of yourself and you scan your passport, you can also do a video, as you mentioned, it's kind of an interview. Most of fintech businesses in Switzerland leverage the possibility to do online identification. In addition, it's possible, this is a new thing in the circular from FINMA, it's possible to geolocate the user wishing to carry out a KYC instead of asking for utility bills. So this is, for example, what SR Saphirstein, Fiat24, it's kind of a crypto neobank. It's the first neobank I know in Switzerland where you can open a bank account, kind of fintech account with a MetaMask wallet. This is really a game changing.
We are going to the end of the discussion. One of the questions, obviously, is Zug. So, what's the difference between Zug and other places?
I'm happy to answer this question. So, actually, originally, as you can hear from my accent, I'm from the French-speaking part, so I know really both part of Switzerland. Company often choose Zug as a location for tax reason first, because this is where you pay the last taxes in Switzerland. The taxes are around 11.8% in Zug, whereas in most of other cantons, it's around kind of states in Switzerland, we call it canton, there are between 13 and 14. Also, Zug has the advantage of being very close to Zurich, so you have a lot of people. This is the biggest city in Switzerland. What's more, Zug is really the heart of the crypto valley, because this is where you have Ethereum, Cardano, Cosmos, Solana, and many more. So it creates really an ecosystem growing there. There are around, based on the report from CBBC, 1,500 companies active in the crypto and fintech field in Switzerland, and 1,000 are active in Zug. Something I would like to mention, in Zug, you can also pay your taxes in crypto now. Huh?
Oh, really? That's very interesting. So this means that the government has like its own crypto wallets, and you can.
That's correct.
Obviously, the KYC requirements in Switzerland are absolutely unique, I can tell you, because on the one side, they are just the same as, to a certain extent, at least similar to, let's say, German or Austrian requirements. At the same time, so they have a video interview, for example. At the same time, they are quite flexible, so you still can use the general KYC infrastructure with automated flow and liveness detection and whatnot. So it's not very much different from any other place where you can set up a business. At the same time, the taxation is quite fantastic, I would say, because obviously the place where you have such a low taxation probably would be maybe Cyprus. in Europe. I would recommend you to obviously to take note of the banks where you can open a bank account. This is very interesting that they that our experts shared the names of the banks. So make sure that you have this information. Of course, the problem is still the currency. That the currency is francs. So it's different currency, but maybe I'm quite sure that there is already quite a substantive legal infrastructure that can help you overcome this problem. Otherwise, I think this was very fruitful to you. If you have any questions, share the questions below the video. Or contact me directly. I will redirect the video, the questions to the experts. Obviously, I have already some of the questions myself, and I will share with you some of the takeaways that I'm gonna have from our experts. Otherwise, I can tell you that in a couple of weeks we are going to Singapore for the Pan-Asian Regulatory Summit. So probably the next video on the same topic, jurisdictions to set up a crypto business, would be devoted to Singapore. Let's see how it works. If you have any questions, comments, again, below the video. If you like the video, please push the like below the video. And otherwise, I thank you for your attention and take care.